Okay, so if you are finding yourself in a relationship and you are annoyed or triggered by your partner, or you're finding out some character traits that you feel are less than desirable, keep listening. So, opposites attract. This is how we work. We may not think so, but it's always what's at play. And it's for a reason. Subconsciously, we seek out in a partner the traits of ours that we have suppressed. So possibly you are somebody who is quiet or introverted. Maybe you aren't really out there with your feelings. You're not very self-expressive. And then you find this partner who is loud and who is not afraid to say what they think. And at first you find this an admirable quality because there's a part of you that feels really whole with that person because you're connecting to that part of them that you have suppressed within yourself. Why you've done that, we'll go into that. That's a whole another can of worms, all your childhood shit that's created that in you. But anyways, that's why we feel whole. That's why we feel like, oh, this is my person. Because we start to feel complete because that part of us had been suppressed. Now, say this is maybe a person that gets a little snippy with the waiter or has a short temper or no patience, like with the cashier at the grocery store. Maybe in the beginning, you don't notice these things. And then out of the blue, you start to notice. It's like, oh my gosh, every time we go to the restaurant, he's blah, blah, blah with the waiter. And it starts to get annoying. It starts to get triggering. You start to find it less than desirable. Something that you used to think was like maybe sexy, like, oh, I like how they take control and use their voice, starts to make you feel maybe a little bit shameful, or you're a little embarrassed about how they act. And you think, oh my God, where did this behavior come from? This just came out of the blue. We didn't recognize that it was there before. And then we start to blame them and we think, oh, you've changed, or we feel uncomfortable with them and it's up to them to fix it. Really, what's at play here is because we chose them based on that subconscious need to connect to what we've suppressed in ourselves. At first, it feels good because you feel wholeness. But then what starts to happen, the more you're around them, it starts to draw that part up in you. So maybe it's your angry side. Maybe it's your short temper. Maybe it's your inability to have patience. That thing that you had pushed down a long time ago, it starts to rise to the surface. And this is all happening internally, right? You don't know exactly what's going on, but you do know that you start to feel really uncomfortable and you start to feel really triggered and reactive. What's really happening is you're feeling triggered by yourself because your shit wants to come up and you want to push it back down. Then we want to project onto our partner, it must be them. Like I always say, many of us coaches say the only way out is through. That is your opportunity to, again, pause, find neutrality with your partner. This is just them. This is how they are. This is how they always have been. This is how you met them. Look inside. What is it triggering in me? What do I need to look at? What do I need to address? Maybe it is my own anger issue. Maybe I need to learn to express my anger in a healthy way, in a way where I could actually just let it move through my body instead of holding on to it. Maybe I could look at myself in anger, even in my partner in anger, and say, you know what? Anger is okay. We can all have anger. Anger is welcome here. It is just a part of life. We don't need to stay in anger. We don't need to hold on to it. We don't need to let it fester. But it is one of our emotions. We could feel it fully, let it pass. It's also another learned skill, another, video for another day. But it's just starting to become aware that that trigger is what you are projecting onto them, which is really you. And also that it was probably always within them from the get-go. But when you were in the la-la phase, it seemed, oh, this is so great. And then all of a sudden, ooh, uncomfortable. So it also, if you could step back and step into that space of self-awareness, will start to take off some of the resentment that you start to place on them too, which, in time builds. And then all of a sudden you find yourself at that standstill where it's two of you with your backs to each other, which is what we want to avoid if we want partnership to go the long term, for the long haul.